Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the different options you have for diggers as far as metal detecting. You can use anything from little trowels to big shovels. Some places you need a big shovel, other places you may need something smaller than that. I'm going to show you the different tools you can use, why some are better than others, and try to explain to you why sometimes you just have to get a big shovel. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at each individual one. I have them lined up from the hardest to use to the easiest to use, and I'll tell you which one I prefer if you don't already know. So I have everything lined up here from the easiest to use to the hardest to use. Let's start on this end. A screwdriver. Now you might say, oh, why do you have a screwdriver here? Well, this is actually a pretty good digging implement if you're in a yard or park where they just really don't want you digging holes. Once you get your target and you get it pinpointed, you can use the tip of the screwdriver to just slowly pry into the grass, and you can feel a coin, you can pop it right out with those. Most people start detecting using something like this. This is just a little trowel. This is actually a detecting trowel, but a garden trowel will work as well. This is fine when you're in a well-manicured lawn or in a park where you can't use a shovel because people will freak out. But you dig with this thing all day and you're going to be tired because you're constantly getting up and down and you can't really dig a very deep hole quickly with it. People will use this for a few weeks, a few months, and then they realize they have to move up to something else. Next comes the entrenching tool. This is what most people go to next. These are military tools. This is actually a foreign tool. You can get these pretty cheap on eBay. I don't recommend them. If you're going to get an E-tool, get a good one. This entrenching tool is, an American entrenching tool. And if you can get the kind with a pick on the back, I highly recommend you do that because it adds a lot of strength. These are very difficult to break, especially if you get the older models. If you look here, you can see it's stamped US. The genuine US military entrenching shovels will always have that marking. If you don't see it stamped US, you have a cheap import. You can use it, but it's going to break. This is dated 1968. But you can also find them from World War II, but they can be kind of valuable. So don't know if you want to dig with something like that, but yeah, this thing will last you for just about ever. Then once you realize that the entrenching tool works, but it's hard to use because the handle's so short and you have to get on your knees to dig with it most of the time, people will move up to a Relic shovel. Now this is a shovel that is manufactured just for Relic hunters. Very well made, you will never break this shovel. However, I don't like them because of the way they're shaped. See how it goes straight up and down like that? And I'll show you why I don't like that in a minute. Another option is just to get a standard shovel, digging shovel from like Lowe's or Home Depot. Has a nice wide blade. This is the short, T-handled version, but you can also get the ones with the long handles. And these things work great. I like them actually much better than these. But again, that's kind of a big blade and you have to dig larger holes, and some people freak out about that. Now this is what I use. This is just a trenching shovel that you get from Home Depot or Lowe's. This is actually the Lowe's model. They do make different grades, so you have to be careful that you don't get one of the cheap ones, although I think most of them are guaranteed for life anyway. I'll show you why I prefer this type of shovel over that type of shovel. So this is why I have preferences for one over the other. This is your basic entrenching tool, which is nice, but you really have to be down close to dig holes. Of course, your trowel, you really have to be close. And then you have this kind of shovel, which is your basic digging shovel that you can order from different companies that make them just for diggers. And they're great. I mean, you'll never break and they're very strong. I don't like them because they're straight right here. When you go to dig a hole, you have to bend this back so you're digging on an angle right into the relic. If you don't do that, you have to keep it straight up and down. It makes it very difficult to remove the plug. A lot of diggers use these. So obviously it's just my opinion. Then you come to your basic big shovel like this, which is pretty easy to use. It has a little bit of an angle here, so you don't have to keep it straight up and down when you're digging. You can actually bend it back a little bit, and you can dig a nice big plug very rapidly. I prefer the long-handled version of it, but I usually use a shorter version because if you're digging out a trash pit or whatever, it gives you, more ability to get to it without the long handle. But this is the ultimate digger as far as I'm concerned. This is a trenching shovel from Home Depot or Lowe's. This is actually from Lowe's. I prefer the Lowe's brand because they seem to have a slightly different angle here. It's not quite as angled as the Home Depot ones that I've seen recently, but you have to check them out. Also be aware that they do have them in wooden handles, but they seem to be very cheap, so I'd look for the fiberglass ones. You can also order these online from Home Depot and Lowe's, so you can get all different versions, get them with wider blades and much narrower blades as well. The reason I like these so much is because of the angle of the blade right here. You'll find that when you're digging the hole, it's much easier to dig a plug. There's a nice, good, strong platform right here. You can go around in the circle, the blade's going almost straight up and down, and when you go to pop the plug, it's very easy to pull it back and the plug just pops right out. You can't do that with the professional digging shovels that you can buy online. Although they're great shovels, I just don't like them. I mean, I paid a lot of money for that thing and I never use it. This is what I recommend. That's what I use. So I know that was So I know that was kind of a quick and dirty video, but I needed to give you just a quick overview of the different types of tools you can use for digging, because I get asked that a lot, and it's so much easier for me just to say watch the video than to type out a paragraph about why I like this versus this. And I still don't understand why people get mad that I'm not using this. You know what I mean? It's like those people have probably never been metal detecting in their lives. That's all, folks. So I have a helper with me today. That's my kitty cat, Nummy. She sleeps with me at night. She's a darling little cat. She only has 3 legs. And our other helper right there is Ratty, or Radicus Finch. He's mostly blind. I mean, he can see a little bit, but he can't see very well. We raised him from a little tiny pipsqueak. Look at him, he's cute. Alright, so let's get back to these shovels.